Hello, good morning, everybody. This is Adam Wong, and I'm your lecturer for this course. I'm also your program leader. First of all, I would like to make sure that everyone can hear me clearly. So if you can hear me clearly, please say yes in the chat room, or you can say good morning. Okay, very good, very good. Thank you very much. Okay. Excellent. Thank you. I see some good mornings and some yeses. Very good. So this is lesson 1. I believe you have taken other lessons already this week. So this must be your 3rd or 4th lessons already. Okay, very good. I'm getting a lot of responses. Now, because my head, well, let me turn on my camera for a little bit longer. Okay, but I will not keep it on turned on for during the whole lesson because my face doesn't add a lot of value to the an hour and a half lesson. Okay, but I think I will turn it on at the beginning, in the middle, and near the end of the lesson. So the first thing I will want to talk about is, of course, to welcome you and to say good morning. And it's a bit unfortunate that we have to conduct this lesson online, okay, because I always think that face-to-face interaction is more important. Okay, it's for me to get to know you and for you to get to interact with your classmates. Okay, but I think we have to make use of whatever we have right now, which is the online lesson. Okay, so what you did just now is very good. You entered some responses in the chat room, and this is what we need. So let's look at the first document of the day. Okay. Before we actually get into the teaching materials, I would like to talk about the teaching plan. Okay, it's very important because we are going to need it to understand more about myself and the other lecturer. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit. So I assume you can all see it clearly. Let me. So as you can see, the subject leader is Dr. Simon Wong, but he will not be teaching this course. He is the subject leader. Okay, so the course materials and teaching plan has been approved by him. So I am here. Okay, my name is Adam Wong, and I will be your lecturer for I will be teaching you the lectures. Okay, so as you can see, lectures will be taught by me. Okay, and then we have another lecturer whose name is Alvin Chen. He will be conducting the labs with you. Okay, and if you can come back to the campus, you may want to visit him on this location. Now notice that my office is actually in West Kowloon. That's why you see the WK is in bold. So if you want to see me, you have to come to the West Kowloon office. And this is my phone number, my email, okay, and this is Alvin's phone number and his email. Okay, so just a little bit of myself. I've been teaching at PolyU Speed for a long time. Okay, and this must be the 3rd or 4th time I teach this course. And so I don't want to spend too much time on myself. I think we'll get to know each other better if we meet in person later on campus. And this is the objectives of the course. Actually, you can read it from the course, the subject description form. I will not spend too much time here. And this is the subject intended learning outcomes. And also you can read it in the SDF, the subject description form. So I won't be spending too much time here. And this is how the subject maps to the scheme or program intended learning outcomes. And this is the name of the subject, and this is the scheme intended learning outcome 1, scheme intended learning outcome 2, and so on. And since it's your second semester, and this is your third or fourth lesson of this week, I think you're all familiar with this, so I will not spend too much time here. And then we have the PILO. The P stands for program. So it's program intended learning outcome 1 and program intended learning outcome 2, and so on. Okay. So every week we are going to have 1.5 hours of lecture, which is going to be taught by me, and then 1.5 hours of tutorials, which will be taught by Mr. Alvin Chen. And this is the tentative schedule. Okay, this may change a little bit depending on how fast we can go, and then if we don't, it depends on whether we have more interruptions like the COVID-19 or rainstorm signals and typhoons and so on. But ideally, we'll follow this schedule. Okay, so this is week 1. We'll be doing the request response cycle and some basic stuff. Okay, this course will be focusing a lot on PHP. We'll be talking about its syntax, data types, and operators. And then lesson 2, we'll look at arrays and loops. Lesson 3, strings and functions. Lesson 4, forms. Lesson 5, database. Now, after lesson 5 is a milestone. Why? Because after you have finished all these 5 lessons, you should be able to complete the individual assignment. Okay, so what is the individual assignment? Well, it is not on Moodle yet, but I can give you a quick look. So this is the instructions for the individual assignment. Okay, so for this assignment, you are going to process a web form. Okay, you're going to show a form and get user input to it, and then you have to connect it to a database. Okay, in this case, it's a SQL Server, and then to store and retrieve the data. And you can use MySQLi or PDO to do it. I will be covering this later in the course. Here are more instructions. So let's look at the funds. You'll be using some database. I'll give you the commands to create the table. Okay, it's a single table application. So you will not be spending too much time on the database itself, because we are more on the web technologies, but you still need a database, and there should be at least 1 table in it. Actually, there's another table as well. So you're going to accept the user inputs. In this case, the user is trying to select a place or a store. Okay, just like the Apple Store or let's SmartTone. Okay, to pick a location to pick up the new iPhone. Okay, let's say iPhone 15 is coming out. Okay, then they can try to select a store to pick up the phone. So this is what the form may look like. Actually, this is a web application. So it's a form. It allows users to select a place to pick up the phone. Okay, someone just asked, when are you going to see this assignment? I think I'll release it in week 2. Okay. So let me reply to that. In week 2, just after the Chinese New Year. Okay. So most students didn't have problem with this in the past. I think you will be fine too. Okay, so let me get back to the teaching plan. Now, after that, we are going to do what we call MVC, Model View Controller. We will talk a bit about object-oriented programming in PHP. We will be talking about classes, methods, and inheritance. Okay, we'll be doing some file input and output. And then we'll be talking about development using frameworks. Okay, have you heard about frameworks? Do you know what this means? Anyone? Just yes or no, doesn't matter. Just want to know, have you heard about frameworks? Yes, very good. Okay, so someone said he or she has heard about it. Someone said no. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Okay, so most of you haven't heard about it. No problem. I will talk about it. And then in week 11 and 12, we'll be doing our group project presentations. This schedule may change a bit. If time allows, I will try to cover actually another technology, which is called servlet. Okay, let's see if we have enough time. Okay, because in additional to PHP, I would also like to cover at least one more server-side language. So it may be servlet, I don't know, or it may be React.js. Okay, it depends on how fast we go. Okay. And then basically the labs will be all on PHP. Okay. And then in around week 8, we'll get you to present your group project. Okay. I call it a prototype presentation. Now you may not have done much by then, by week 8, because the deadline is like in 11 or 12, but we'd like to see how fast or how far you have gone in week 8. Okay, so basically you have to tell us that you have this front end a web page designed, you may have some database tables and so on, but you may not have all the PHP files ready, and that's okay. This subject is 100% based on coursework. Okay, so there'll be no exams. To most of you should be good news. And the assignment is 30%. Is the one that I just showed you. Okay, develop a web application with connection to a database, and there will be some tests. There will be a test which requires you to complete a series of quizzes. So these quizzes are not too difficult. Some of them are like 2%. Some of them are like so these quizzes. Okay, some are as little as 2% of the whole subject content. Some of them may be as much as, let's say, 10%. They are online, and usually you have 1 day to complete it, so they are not difficult. Actually, I will try to shorten the time a little bit, because too much time may be not too good to test your knowledge. I may change the time limits later. Okay, so there may be a range here. Attendance. Okay, we strongly encourage you to attend class on time. Okay, although attendance itself is not part of your assessment. Now remember, in Moodle, you can take your attendance, right, in Moodle. So I don't have to show you because you're all familiar with it. But attendance is just for the school's record. Okay, in my course, you can see the assessment has no item called attendance or participation. To me, the participation is in the form of your participation, okay, in the tests, your presentations, okay. And so if you forgot to take your attendance in Moodle, it's not too important, right? But if you want to tell me that, hey, Adam, I've forgotten to take my attendance, I can mark it for you. It's okay, it's no problem. But remember, the attendance is purely a record, okay? It doesn't affect your grade in any way, okay? if you want to get better grades, first of all, you have to do all these, okay? And then, but if you want to do well in your assignment in tests, then you have to answer questions, let's say in the chat room, okay? Because it keeps you awake. Otherwise, you'll fall asleep when you're taking my lessons. So try to engage yourself. When I answer your questions, do answer them in the chat room. So CEF, I don't think you are applying for CEF because you will have a whole lifetime to use your CEF, which is $20,000. Okay, but you have a whole lifetime to use it. So not many students will use it. And this is the so-called textbook we will be using. Is written by Nixon. It's called 20 Lessons to Successful Web Development. Okay, and there's an ebook version available in the CPC library. Okay, so try it. Okay, so it's electronic. You don't have to come back, okay, and it's always there. You can read it online, and there are some other good references as well. For example, web programming with PHP and MySQL. Okay, and if you want more help on object-oriented programming, you can read this book. Okay, this is a warning about plagiarism. Again, you should be all familiar with it by now because you are in the second semester. So that's the teaching and learning plan. Now let's take a look at the assessment guide. Now here's the assessment guide. Again, is rather standard, so I will not spend too much time on it. So this, you have seen this already, right? So this maps to the assessments and to the subject intended learning outcomes. And you must at least get a grade D to pass this subject. And this is an explanation of why we teach this course in such a way. Okay, so you may want to read this and understand why we are doing things in a certain way. And this is the grading. You're all familiar with it. And as I said before, the individual assignment, which is 30%, is on the web application, the phone, mobile phone reservation. And then we have a series of quizzes, which forms your test. So it's a number of quizzes. And then we have individual presentation. Now, the individual presentation is actually a evaluation of how well you do your presentations in your group project and also in your other assignments. So it's an overall assessment of how well you present yourself. Okay, so but mainly it's about the group project. It's a group project. Okay, so in your group project, each student should present for an equal amount of time. Okay, don't let one or two students occupy too much presentation time. Okay, so and then finally, this is the group project. The group project is for you to complete a task. It's being designed. For now, okay, I will give you more details after as we go on. So that's the assessment guide. Okay, so you have been listening to me for 20 minutes. So I think it's time to stand up and stretch yourself. Let's take a break of 5 minutes so that you can go to the washroom and I will get a drink and so on. Okay, so let's stop here and we'll be back in 5 minutes. Hello, we are back. Okay, I hope you have taken a good break. Okay, so we are now all energized and back to our lesson. So let me look at our presentation here. Okay, this is a very quick revision of the what is an web application. So it's a revision, and to most of you, it should be very easy. Okay, but it's just a quick revision and a little bit of history on PHP. So what is client-server computing, or just C/S computing? Well, a client machine is a single user PC or workstation. Okay, and the server is usually in the cloud. Okay, that provides a set of shared use services to the clients. Okay, so the server typically serves many clients, and this is rather obvious. And usually there's a database behind it. And this is the model. And some people may call this a three-tier client-server model. Okay, it's important to note this word. Why? Because when you apply for jobs, you may see this term, okay, three-tier or multi-tier client-server model. So don't be scared by this term. Don't be afraid. It's actually very easy, and we are using this almost every day. So you have your PC here, and on which you have your browser, and then you have some application servers which may be running different kinds of programs. Your PHP programs may be here, okay, and then the HTML files are here, and then behind it there are some database servers, okay. So in this course, you will learn how to do this, and in this course, actually, everything will be on one machine. So your PC will act, or your notebook will act as your client, and then your PHP program will be running on your own same PC as well. And then your database, which is PHP MySQL or SQL Server, will be also on your PC. But logically, it's three-tier, okay, and which may happen on the same machine. Someone just said that Jupyter Notebook is something like that, and yes, I agree. Okay, I'm glad that someone knows about Jupyter Notebook, and probably he is using a Python for that. Okay, so if I have the chance, I may want to teach you machine learning for data mining, in which we talk a lot more about Python and notebooks, Jupyter Notebooks. So let's focus on PHP for now. So I think this is very obvious, right? In this case, the connection will be using the PHP protocol, which is right this part here. Okay, so the client connects to the machine, which is the server, and then the request is sent, and then the server gives a response. Now let's take a quick look at the request and response. Now, what is a request? Well, some of us will think that you just click a link on a web page, right? And that's a request. Yes, that's true. Okay, but actually it's more than that. So this is a typical GET request. So we click a link which says index.html, or if you just type in the address like google.com, okay, when you just press enter, that automatically will go to google.com and then look for this file, index.html. And then the actual request is a GET command, usually a GET, but it can be a POST as well. It can be a POST, but usually it's a GET. We'll talk more about it later. So a GET request is sent, and then together there's the HTTP protocol. So what version we are using, and then followed by a new line and a character return here. In blue, you may not see clearly, but it's a character return and a new line. And then there are other information as well that we don't see. For example, we want to keep it alive. Our agent is Mozilla. So this is the browser, the version of the browser, the address, then the port, and then we are going to accept images, and this is the encoding we would like to use. This is the language, and this is the character set, and then a blank line. Finally, a blank line, just a character return, and a new line with nothing means like this is end of the request message. So it's a simple click on the link actually generates this request. Okay, but don't worry about it. This is just for your information. Okay, the server will handle this for you. Okay, the server will know that, hey, this is a GET request, and we need to respond with the HTML, the index.html file. So what is a response message? Well, when you get the response, the user will see what is in an HTML here, right, down at the bottom. But actually, a lot is going on. So first of all, I will reply with the protocol. Hey, I'm using HTTP 1.1, and the request that you make, I find it okay. Okay, so we returns with a 200, and okay, and that's the date of the response, and it tells the client, hey, I'm using Apache. This version here, I'm running on Windows 32 bits. This file was last modified on this date, and I'm going to send you something which is 88 characters long, and it's going to be a text HTML, which means this time I'm not sending you any pictures or audio, and I'm going to close it after this connection. So, and then this is the actual file. Okay, as you count it, it should be 88 characters. Okay, so interesting, right? So we think that we just click a link and then the server gives us a file, but actually quite a lot is going on. So what is a minimal response? Well, when the server cannot find the file, 404 not found. I think this is rather familiar, right? To some of you, if the server address is wrong, or there's a dead link, or the page has been removed, then you see this 404 not found. So the client side is actually usually it means the browser or the user's computer. So the browser can understand HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You learn all this in semester 1. And the server side, so the client side, usually we call the front end. The front end. And then we have the server side. The server side are the things that run in the server, which is the server computer. Okay, and the server can run a lot more languages. The client usually only knows about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, but the server can run a lot more languages like PHP, JSP, which is Java Server Page, ASP, okay, Active Server Page, C#, Python, Java, JavaScript, Ruby and Rails, React.js, and so on. There's a lot. If you know one of them, it's easy to learn the others. That's why we focus on PHP. Okay, once you know PHP, learning the others becomes easy. And usually we call this the backend. So the focus of this subject is the backend development and management. Okay, so it's PHP, and then there's some sections, the use of cookies, and also the database. And then lastly, we will talk about frameworks. So PHP, here's some background. Okay, it's a server-side scripting system. Okay, scripting means no compilation, no compilation. So if you're familiar with Java, you know that Java is a compiled language. Okay, the things get compiled into another format, usually called a bytecode, and the server will run the bytecode. But in PHP, it just runs that script. Okay, nothing gets compiled. PHP, interestingly, stands for PHP Hypertext Processor. Okay, so this is known as a recursive definition. So what is PHP? Or what does PHP stand for? You say PHP stands for PHP Hypertext Preprocessor. Then you say, well, what is this PHP in here? Well, you can say again, it stands for PHP Hypertext Processor. I think this is kind of funny, but it's just a name. It's based on Perl, Java, and C. Okay, later on, I'll have a diagram to explain this. It's very good for creating dynamic content, okay, because the server cannot have a lot of static HTMLs waiting for the user. Every user wants things differently, right? So PHP can generate dynamic contents, dynamic PHP files on the fly, depending on what the user wants. It's powerful, okay, but it can be risky. Okay, by risky, I mean it assumes a lot of things. Okay, it gives you a lot of flexibility, but sometimes it can be dangerous. Java, on the other hand, is a very safe language, but when you want to make things safe, there'll be a lot of extra steps involved to make things safe. Okay, if you know Java, you know what I mean, right? You have to declare the type of every variable. Okay, you cannot easily mix variables in an expression. So that makes things very complicated, but it's safe. But in PHP, you don't have to do that. You can mix variable types. When you use a variable, you don't have to declare it. You don't have, actually in the middle of the program, you can change the type of a variable. Okay, it's very powerful, it's very flexible, but it can get you into trouble as well. Okay. So if you want to focus on one system for dynamic content, this is a good one to choose. The PHP is a good one to choose. Okay, you can do a lot of things. You can use it for cloud computing. You can use it for writing shopping carts and so on. It's some background about PHP. It starts as a Perl hack by this guy, okay, to handle his resume. Interestingly, so all he wanted was his resume, and he used Perl, okay, to write in this language called PHP. And then later on, someone rewrite the whole engine, okay, using C. The current version is 8.1. 8.1. So if you go to the official PHP website, you'll see 8.1 here. So this is the official website, php.net. And there are some tombstones here. Okay, so PHP 5.1 was born in 2006. Okay, and then this one was born in 2011, and so on. And 5.5 was born on this 2016 June. And now the latest version is version 8. Now, how up to date is version 8? As you can see on the release date here, it's just about it's less than 2 months ago. Okay, it's December 2021, so less than 2 months. So it's very up to date. PHP is very much alive and heavily used. So that's the bit of revision. Okay. So any questions about this part? So I guess not, right? Everyone is fine with it. So let's move on. Then let's go into the real stuff. Okay, the PHP part that we want. So this is the introduction to PHP. And here are the learning objectives. Why are we talking about PHP? Okay, and then we are going to talk about the text, the variables, and some operators. Now, what is PHP? Okay, as I mentioned before, PHP stands for PHP recursively stands for PHP Hypertext Processor. Funny name. Is to generate client-side code. Okay, so it's dynamic contents for the client side to see. Therefore, it must end up with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, or some other client-side code. Here's an example. So this is a PHP file. This is what actually sits on the server, waiting to be served to the client. So if someone wants to grab this file, okay, the PHP processor on the server will process this one, and then it will return this to the client in the response. Okay, so as you can see, it's just typical HTML plus this line. Now, this line is actually in PHP. This line is written in PHP, and then let me ask you, for the user, can the user tell which line is from PHP and which line is directly from HTML? Yes or no? Okay, please type in the chat box. Can the client tell which line or lines is from PHP? The answer is no. Very good, thank you. That's true. Okay, I use boldface here just for teaching purposes, but to the client, they cannot tell. They cannot tell which part is from PHP. Very good, thank you. If I have time, I will try to like your answers, but I don't have much time here, so I will like some of your answers. Okay, but actually, basically, I like when you respond to my questions. Actually, you can like my slides as well. Okay, so can someone try to use the reaction function in Teams to like this slide? You know, you can use this reaction, right? You can like it, you can clap hands, you can smile, or you don't understand, you can click this surprised. Okay, can anyone give me some reaction on this slide? Anyone? Are you surprised, or do you like it, or do you want to clap hands? 1, 2, 3, go. Oh yes, I see some some hearts and some thumbs up. Very good. Actually, it doesn't show on the slide directly, but it shows on your profile pic. Okay, so actually I prefer if it can show on the slide directly. Okay, something like a 彈幕 in Cantonese. Okay, thank you very much. So let's this slide shows you that PHP is still the language of choice for many web applications. So you can see PHP is at the top, followed by ASP.NET, and then Ruby. Now, how do you read this graph? Well, for overall, for all websites, okay, being surveyed by w3text.com in less than a month ago. Actually, just 9 days ago. Okay, 10 days ago. And of all the websites surveyed, PHP is used by 78% of the websites. Okay, 8% used ASP.NET, 6% used Ruby and Rails. Okay, if you look at the top 1 billion websites in the world, then 76% use it, PHP, and 10% use ASP.NET, and 7.9% on Ruby and Rails, and so on. But if you look at closer and closer, you will see that actually other languages are catching up as well. So if you look at the top 1,000 sites in the world, okay, then 58% are using PHP. Okay, 17.8% are using ASP.NET, and so on. Someone said, I'm not surprised. Okay. Now, you may be surprised to know that now you may have heard of Python. Okay, a lot of people are talking about Python because it's the language of choice in data mining, machine learning, and so on, or artificial intelligence. But you may be surprised to know that it is younger than Python. Look at this diagram. History of programming languages. Okay, Python was born in 1991. Python is 4 years younger. Okay, so that's interesting, right? So just a bit of history. And they all originate or influenced by C. Okay, so this is C is the grandmother or mother of many languages. And there's the PHP official website. Now, I highly encourage you to download PHP onto your own machine so that you can do it on your own machine. From this website, you can download it. It's very easy to do. Or if you want, you may look for exam. We'll talk about exam later. Okay, I don't want to talk about it now because it makes things complicated. Okay, so but if you want, you can do this, but maybe later. For now, you may want to download PHP. Now, let's say if you think your client PC, your notebook is not powerful enough to install PHP on XAMPP, an alternative is to use Pysr.cloud. Okay, so this is a cloud computing platform. Okay, there are many cloud computing platforms out there for you to use PHP, but I found this one is absolutely free of charge and it's very easy to set up. Free of charge and easy to set up. And also it supports frameworks. Okay, remember we talk about frameworks. Okay, and it in particular it supports a framework called Laravel. Okay, now I know that after this lesson we'll have a Chinese New Year break. So if you know quite good with PHP already, then you may want to go ahead and try to study Laravel. Okay, that's my recommendation. Okay, anyway, so you can download and install PHP on your own machine from this website. The documentation is there and it's easy to use. So what can PHP do? Well, PHP can do a lot of things. You can you can create a form. Okay, you can use PHP to generate an HTML form, and then you can get the user's input into that form, and then you can process the data. You can generate dynamic page contents. So if you're a company, you have many products. Of course, you cannot have all the product pages created beforehand, right? It's impossible. So you can store all the product information, the images, the descriptions, the prices in a database. So when the customer visits your website and look for certain products, you generate the product pages on the fly. Okay, so this dynamic page content. And you can send and receive cookies. And cookies are very important because it helps to maintain this thing called sections. Okay. We'll talk more about that later, but if you do not handle cookies, then you cannot have sections. And sections are very important. Okay, we'll talk more about that later. Now, the three main areas where PHP scripts are used is the server-side scripting, which is the focus of this course. You can also do command line scripting. I'll show you in a moment how to do it. And basically, it means that you can write PHP script and run it without any server or browser, which is neat, right? You can just try it very quickly. And then you can write desktop applications, which is not recommended, but it's possible. Okay, so now if you want, okay, I'm going to give you another break. So in the break, you may want to download PHP if you don't have it with you already. Okay, so let me show you what it's like if you have PHP installed. So here it says you can run PHP from the command line, and the output simply comes out on the terminal. And here's an example. Okay, now on the server, it can process the PHP script. Okay, and the PHP script will look complicated like this. There's an opening tag, there's a closing tag, and there's some PHP lines. But when you run it from the command line, you don't need these tags. All you need is just the command line, like this. Now let me show you how it is done. So I'm going to start a command window. And this is my command window over here. So let me change my font size. Now they're much bigger. So when you have your PHP installed, you can type in PHP like this, but then it's expecting to process a file, right? So it's now waiting for me to give all the commands in like expecting a script, okay? But this is too complicated. So instead, you should do a -A, which means I want an interactive shell. Okay, just like what is said in the slide here, interactive shell. Okay, so here you can just type in echo welcome to SDKS 40/17, and then it will do the job. For example, say echo 5 + 12. Okay, what do you think the output is? What do you think the output is? Anyone? Can you type it in the chat room? Very simple command. 17, yes, correct. Very good, very good. So it's 17. Now someone said, if you type in PHP and then you ask for the version and then it does not respond, it means you don't have the PHP. That's correct. That's correct. PHP not recognized. So the answer is correct. Someone just asked this question. Okay. The answer is correct. You have to install PHP first. Okay, you can download and install. You can install either PHP or XAMPP, which includes PHP. Now let me ask you, what is the result of this? Can anyone guess? Or you may try on your machine. Or you can actually read my notes. Okay, it's actually covered in today's notes. Someone said S12. Interesting choice. Okay, actually I should use a heart. I should use a heart. Okay, like your answer. Okay, so let's look at the result. Now, it gives you a warning. First of all, it gives you warning. Okay, it says a non-numeric value encountered in PHP shell code on line 1. This is line 1. So S here is not numeric. Okay, but then it continues to execute the code and gives you 12. Okay, so that's why I said earlier that PHP is powerful. PHP is powerful. Okay, but it can get you into trouble like this. Okay, so basically, you know what this means? In this interactive shell, it gives you that warning, so you know you have a warning. But if you're running this on the server side as part of the HTML, the warning may be suppressed. Okay, it just gives you the result as 12, and then you don't know something wrong has happened. Okay, so but what it is good in a certain way because the code doesn't break. There's no exception. That is an exception actually that you can catch, but the code doesn't break. Okay, the end user will not see any error. Okay, that's a nice thing about it. But then the result may not be what you expect. Now, let me ask you this: what do you think these will give you? Any answer? What do you think the result is this one? Now you are being very careful, right? Interesting, interesting. Well, actually, PHP is very smart. It's 17. It's 17. Yes, yes. Okay, so how do you want to show 512, right? If you want to show, let's say if you want to show S12, then you have to do something like this. You use the dot. Oops. You can. Hmm. Well, I'm a little bit confused here. So let me stop here, okay? But because is can be confusing, like I said. Okay, so now I have been talking for another half an hour. Now someone asked if you want we want S12 for some reason. Do we echo S? Okay, yes. You let's try that. Interesting question. So can we do S plus this? I don't think so. I don't think so. Sorry. So, but you can certainly do the concatenation like this. Yes. So let me show you the question. The question is, if you want to do show S12 for some reason, what do you do? So that's the question. Okay, like this question. So this is the answer. You use the dot, which is known as the concatenation. I'll cover that, I think, later today or another lecture. Concatenation. This is a concatenation operator. So just like plus, plus is the additional operator, right? So the dot is the concatenation operator. Okay, I'll cover more after the break. So let's take 5 minutes. 5, 8, and we'll be back after the break. Hello. Hello, we are back. Okay. Can you still hear me? Okay, someone is trying to download. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Yes. Well, someone just tried to download and it's 8.1.2. Yes. And yes, that's correct. That's correct. Okay, very good. I'm glad to see that actually you are trying to follow along and then try to download PHP. Very nice. Okay, someone try the echo statement. Actually, oh, okay. Someone asked a question and then another student gave him the answer. Very good, very good. This is the kind of cooperation I like to see. Okay, excellent, excellent job there. Jiao Yuklun. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, so actually I haven't shared the screen yet. I was referring to this, right? Someone's tried to download it and then someone responded. Very good, very nice cooperation here. Very good. Okay, let's go back to the slides. I think I showed this already, right? So this part is to tell you that the PHP scripts. So if you are not using in interactive mode, if you're writing in scripts, okay, the file must end with the extension .php, and then you must start the code with this tag, is less than question mark PHP, and then you close it with this question mark greater than sign, just like in here. Okay, and all the lines must end with a semicolon. It's very similar to JavaScript and C. Now the result is passed to the browser. Source isn't visible. We covered that already. So this is an example here. Okay. Now interestingly, although your file extension is .php, so the thing is, on the server, you may say you have a file called index.php, but actually you can start it with HTML text and it's still okay. The server knows how to process it. So it will think that, okay, it's an HTML, it finds a PHP file, finds an HTML tag, it will process it like an HTML until it sees this one. Okay, and then it knows, oh, there's some PHP in here. It will run the PHP stuff, and then you get this. Okay, so that's one way. That's one way of doing it. Another way would be to embed the HTML inside PHP. Do you see a difference? This one is PHP inside HTML. PHP inside HTML. This one is calling HTML from within PHP. which you think is easy to understand? Personally, I think this is easy to understand. Okay, but which is more common? Actually, this is more common. Do you know why? Because this is more powerful. Because this one can control the look of the web page using PHP. The PHP actually generates different HTML tags rather than just filling in inside gaps in some HTML. So, well, when it comes to tags, there are some things. Which one is quicker? Which one is quicker? I haven't investigated into this. So there's an interesting question. Someone asked, I think this is a very, very good question. Which one is quicker? Which one is quicker? I don't think it does not make a big difference because it's is a scripting language. There's no compilation, so the speed will be more or less the same. Okay, unless you have a lot of loops and so on. I think the more important question is which one is more flexible. Okay, well, which one is the preferred way, not due to speed reasons. Okay, because when we use PHP, we are not dealing with big data. Okay, basically we are just showing some web pages. We are maybe grabbing a few tables in database, creating some rows, and then show it back. So performance is usually not a problem. Okay, so but anyhow, this is a very good question. Okay, so you can use text like this, or you can use a shorthand version. Okay, so you save 2 characters. So instead of this one, you save 2 characters. Okay, it's up to you. I don't think this helps much. Okay, or you can make it even shorter using this tag. But I don't want to spend too much time on this because it doesn't save you a lot of effort. Okay, but later on, you will see sometimes if you embed PHP inside HTML, then it may make a difference. Okay, now what I mean is like the shorthand version doesn't matter much in this scenario. But if you're doing a lot of these, if you are embedding PHPs inside HTML, the shorthand version may give you some benefits. Okay. And sometimes you will see that this ending tag is missing, and it's okay. It's okay to omit that if a file contains only PHP code. And comments, I think this is the easy part. You can do it as a single line comment, a whole line, or you can do it as part of a line. It's also okay. Block comments like this. So this is rather like C, right? Again, it's very easy to understand. Now, how do you show information to the user or to you? Well, you can use the echo statement, which I have been using, or you can use the print function. And in most cases, they are the same. Okay. There are some cases you want to use a print_r. We'll cover that later. And this is usually for dealing with arrays. Wardum. Wardum is looks more complicated and is more difficult to type than print or echo, but sometimes it's the only choice if you want to do certain things. I'll explain that later, like showing the Boolean value of false. There are some special functions inside PHP that you can use. One of them is the PHP info. It tells you the environment of the server. I seldom use it, but I think it's rather interesting. So all you need to do is say echo PHP info, then you get a lot of information. Let me do a quick demo here. So echo echo PHP info. Don't forget the semicolon. And you can see there's a lot of output here, a lot and a lot. Okay. Usually you don't bother with it. Usually you don't. Okay, but then you see there's the name of my laptop, and then you see where who the user is. I think I saw my name somewhere. Yes, there's my name. This is my temp directory. You see Adam K here. Okay, that's my name, and so on. But usually you don't use this a lot. Okay, and if you write it in a web page, actually it will show it very nicely with the HTML text. So to format it in your table with the graphics and so on. And there's 4 scalar types in PHP and 4 compound types in PHP. And we'll be covering only 6 of them: Boolean, integer, float, string, array, and object. These are called primitive types. It means that they are types that are defined by the user, but you'll learn more about those later. As I mentioned before, PHP is a loosely typed language. You don't have to declare the type of a variable. You just use it. You don't even have to declare a variable at all. You just use it, okay? And the type can change throughout the program. Interesting, right? So let's look at this. Now you may note that all variable names must start with the $sign, just like in C, okay? And then you assign a value to it. So this is obvious, right? I think this is obvious. Now the interesting thing is here, it started as an integer, okay? It got incremented, but then it changed into a string, okay? And it is very strange. Variables must start with the $sign and so on, followed by a letter or underscore. And then after that, it can be any combination of letters, even numbers and underscores. And it's case sensitive, which means that $lowercase x and $uppercase x are different. Okay, so $x is one variable, $uppercase x is another variable, so it can be confusing. The value of an unassigned variable would be null, obvious. This A is the number 1, B is the character 2. If we have seen this before, right? Okay, so what is A plus B? Okay, so I leave it up to you to find out as a little exercise. Okay, you can do it. Okay, so now actually the result will be 3. Result will be 3. Why this is a type juggling? Type juggling. Now, now remember that this is not the same as a double quote we used before. Okay, so it's just a single quote. Now, what is type juggling? Type juggling means it tries to convert the types in the expression. Okay, so this is an expression. This expression. It sees that A is an integer, and then it sees the addition operator, the plus. Then it sees a string, and then the type juggling tells PHP to say, hey, try to complete this expression instead of giving an error. And then it thinks that, okay, since it's a string which is a number 2, it can be converted into the integer 2. So it does that conversion. And then finally, you have the 3. That's the type juggling. Now let's look at the some variable names. Is this a valid variable name? Yes, it is. Is this a valid variable name? Anyone? Yes or no? Just very quickly. Valid or invalid? Invalid. Okay, someone said yes. Most of you said yes. No. It's invalid. Why? Because of the number 1. Okay. Now you can have numbers in variable names, but not immediately after the $sign. Okay. Now this one, interestingly, is okay. Oh, well, actually, I don't think it's. Let's try it. I don't think it's okay. Actually, what I tell you what, you try it, okay? Because we are running out of time. Okay, we are running out of time. Both of these are okay. Now you may say the only difference here is the double quote and the single quote. Okay, there's a difference actually. Now both of these are valid. Okay, but if you have some variables inside this, then it will make a difference. If there are no variables inside it, they are the same. Okay. Sometimes you use a camel case. Why the camel case? Because this is lowercase and uppercase and uppercase. It's just like a camel, right? A camel, this is the head, and then this back, there's a hum. There's another hum. Okay, so that's a camel. Excuse me for my drawing, but actually this is a camel. Adam, I think I mentioned this before. You can see both the data type and the value of a variable. So if I have this dial number, which is 1, 2, 3, if you do a while dump, and then you echo a line break to it, and then you assign another value to it, and then you while dump, what will you get? Well, for the first one, when you do the while dump, it tells you the type of the variable, which is an integer, and then the 1, 2, 3 is the value. And when you do the second while dump, which is this line, it tells you it's a string. And what is the 3? The 3 is the length of the string, and then tells you the value inside the string. And here there's an explanation on addition versus concatenation. We actually covered it before, right, when I did the demonstration. But this time, the demonstration is using a while dump. So A is a string, B is a number. So you do the while dump, okay, it will, if you do addition, it will try to add them together, gives you 3. If you try to do the concatenation, it will give you a string by concatenating or combine the 2 together, but not addition. Okay, so like this. Type juggling. Now, type juggling is when PHP tries to convert the data type of a variable. Now, remember, if you use an expression and it's a constant, like a string encoded in double quotes, when it's not a variable, type juggling will not occur. Okay, type juggling will occur only when you give it variables. Okay, so it will change the type to fit in that expression, but it will not, PHP does not change the value and type of the variable itself. Okay, so in the previous example, so this A, when it runs this concatenation, when it runs this addition, the expression varies to 3. 1 plus 2 is 3, but the A remains as a string. After this expression, A will not be converted to an integer. Okay, so be careful. That's what the meaning of this statement here. So type juggling. This is a juggler. Okay. So it says it will take the value and try to transform it, leaving the variable intact. So the A remains a string, but in the expression, it converts its value to an integer. Yeah, the arithmetic operators, I think these are all very obvious. They have the same meaning and same notation as in most other languages, like this an exponentiation. Okay, the division, the modulus. I think Python also uses this. Increment, decrement. Okay, I think this is all very obvious, and you have the examples here and the results here. It's very easy. So what is the output of the following program? Let's guess it together. So A is 10, B is 3. So this is 13. This is 7, 13. Division. Now, two integers, when they are divided, it evaluates to a floating point number. Modulus. A modulus division divided by A modulus B is 1, because 13 divided by 7 is 1 point something something, right? And the fraction part gets chopped off, so it's only a 1. A raised to the power of B is 1000. Okay. Negative 8, negative 10, very obvious. So the assignment operator, which is this one, it's a long name, but that's the equal sign. Okay, so I think it's rather obvious. So we will print 10, right? This is 7. 7 plus 5 is 12. 12 minus 2 is 10. Very obvious. So $8 plus equals 14, which is $8 equals $8 plus 14. So what is this value? It should be 27. So after this to be set 27. 8 minus equals 12 means this, right? So after this, it should be 25. 25. Okay. This is the same as this. So after this, what should be the value? 100. Okay. So try it. And this is a summary of the comparison operators. So you use this in comparison in if statements, normally in if statements or while statements. So, well, actually, I think we can cover this later in the second lecture, but this is a rather obvious. The only strange thing is about the spaceship. Okay, I leave it up to you to find out, and we may have an exercise in the next lecture. So that's the end. Okay, we did it. There's still a few minutes left. Okay, now, do you have any burning questions here? Now, if not, I would like to show you the Moodle page. Now, in the Moodle page, you will find the links to the lecture, which is this one, the attendance for this one and the lab, and this Alvin, the tutor for the labs, may change this. Okay, he may break it down into separate attendance lists. We covered the teaching plan today, the assessment guide today. We covered these two. We covered these two sets of slides. Now, this one will be covered by Alvin. Will be covered by Alvin. Okay, and then you see Python Cloud. Python Cloud is an online PHP environment for you to use it. Okay, so it's just Python Cloud. You go there and where's the link for the lab? Okay, someone asked for the lab, and then the link for the lab, Alvin will put it there. Okay, Mr. Alvin Chen will provide the lab later. Okay, to download the PHP, how to activate? You just run it. Basically, you can just run it, and it should not be difficult. You may have to restart your machine, but I think you just go to the command prompt. So for in my case, I just start the command prompt. So if I share my screen here, so in my case, I just as you can see, there's a command prompt, right? I usually type in the command myself. Okay, so I type in this command, or you see, I type in command and it says command prompt, and then I do PHP, and then you get the PHP version, and then you got that .a, you get the interactive shell. Now, I'm not sure about 8.1. As you can see, I'm using version 7 here. But after you downloaded it and you run the installer, it should be available immediately. Otherwise, you may have to restart your machine. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Now, if you still have trouble, then you can try to ask Alvin about it. Okay. Is that PHP requirement? The answer is no. Okay, version 8, 7 or 8 will be fine for this course. Thank you. Oh, say I was now I have to overrun for a few minutes because I don't want to get into details, but before Friday, I want you to get started with PyCloud. Okay, let me show you a bit here. PyCloud. PyCloud is free of charge. Okay, you can sign up. I signed up already, but I'm not paying. Now, as you can see, when you cut in here, okay, it says you have no server, and then you can have to create new server. Okay, I'll leave it up to Alvin to explain the details to you, but I suggest you try it yourself first, so that it's easier for you to follow along when Alvin shows it to you. Okay, and then the next thing is that this file called Screencastify from 0 to hero, step-by-step guides. Now, I want to show this because you need to submit a video after Friday. Okay, the deadline is actually Saturday, so you have almost 2 days to do it. Okay, now the assignment will ask you to use PyCloud or something equivalent. Okay, it doesn't have to be PyCloud, it can be anything else. And then you have to create a video. Okay, so how do you create a video? Well, the easiest way to do it is you use Screencastify. Or if you have other things equivalent, you can do it. Some people, some students use OBS or other software. It's fine with me, but if you want, I think this one is the easiest. No installation. I mean, actually, you have to add it to your browser. Now, in the actual video, there's sound. Okay, I can just yes, actually, I cannot share the sound at the moment, but I encourage you to watch this video and learn how to use Screencastify. So that's all from me today. Has been a rather busy lesson, and I hope you are all fine with the materials today. And I will see you in the next lesson. So that's all from me today. And yes, please say goodbye. Okay, so make it very interactive and make all of us feel like part of a real class. Okay, so if you, thank you. And actually, I should say happy New Year as well. Okay, bye bye. Very good. Thank you.